Welcome to the Madroit Podcast. We bring you bite-sized marketing and sales insights to help you level up, no matter the size of your business. Tune in and answer the big question, what does marketing actually do?
Welcome back, everyone. And on today's episode, this is actually a follow-up from our last episode on authority, but we had a great question come in from a listener that got us thinking even deeper about it. So this listener asked, I've been in business nearly a year and I don't feel like paid ads are working. So what's more important, a great offer or building trust for your business? And honestly, that's the question, right? So today we're going to unpack the role of trust in marketing, how it shows up, and why it's a long-term play that always pays off. So just to kick us off here, what does it mean to have trust from your marketing?
Yeah, trust is the belief that you'll do what you say you're going to do, deliver on the promise, the expectation that you've set, and have the customer's best interest in mind. It's a lot to unpack. Jordan, what is trust in marketing?
Yeah, for me, it is the belief that you'll do what you say, deliver what you promise, and ultimately it's about having the customer's best interest in mind. Just to clarify, we're talking about an emotional, not transactional, and an emotional state. Distinguishing, I think, two, what is the difference between having authority and having trust? Authority essentially is just saying, I know what I'm doing, right? Believe me, I am the best at this. I know what I'm doing. Trust says, I'm doing this for you. I'm providing you this value. I'm providing you with this service, and you are trusting that I have your best interest in mind because of X, Y, Z, right? I think too, when we talk about that emotional state, you have to create buy-in, right? So people don't just need to believe in your product or service. They need to believe that you have their back. I think that can look like a number of different things based on your industry. So there's a lot of different ways that we can take this, but for the purpose of this listener's question and what we're trying to tackle here, I think understanding why trust matter more than a good offer. When I know we're covering it all here, but how do we want to dive into that?
Yeah, the world's best offer can be there, but if you don't have the trust, it's no good. And to some degree, the other way, but trust is a lot more important than a great offer, because a decent offer, or honestly, no offer at all, just saying, hey, we're here, available, people trust us, you trust us, work with us. That can be enough for some, right?
Oh, yeah.
A great offer can help. It can help entice people, but great offers can flop. It's tougher for newer businesses in that way too, because you're new. It's hard to have trust built, and there's a lot that goes into trust. So going back to the listener's question, paid ads aren't magic. They accelerate what's already working. If trust isn't built, you could be pouring money into a leaky bucket. I like to say, if you don't have a good reputation, or if you have a lot of frustrated customers or clients, and we help bring more of those people to you, it can create a fire, and not a great one. So that trust in doing what you say you're going to do is so important for all of this. Like I said, paid ads aren't magic. They can make things worse if we're bringing you leads if you're getting leads that don't have a great experience, a lot of trust goes out the window.
Yes.
So trust earns you patience. People are more forgiving, more loyal, more likely to refer if they trust you, and you continue to build that trust and earn that trust, right? Leads are higher quality. There's less price shopping with someone who already have trust built with you, right? It's more of a long-term approach to doing business, as to building trust and doing what you say you're going to do, right? And all those other things.
Yeah, essentially your brand is a promise, and trust, simply put, is how well you keep that promise. So how will you back it up? So when we look at backing it up, when we look at how we build that trust with our audience, whether it's a new customer, new client, new patient, what have you, there's areas where we build trust. So highlighting where some of those areas are, I think one, just to kick it off, is on the website. We want clear messaging on our website. Case studies are fantastic to see and really help people understand the relationship that other clients and customers have had with your business. Guarantees and transparency. So transparency cannot be understated on the website, especially people are taking in that content. They want clear messaging so that they can clearly understand what's being offered, how you do it, what your process even is for building a successful experience. What else do you think?
Yeah, who you do it for. And you may have mentioned about what you do, the process, right? But what do you actually do? And that all aligns too, because if you're saying, I do lawn care, but then in person you're saying, hey, I'd love to re-roof your house, doesn't feel very trustworthy because there's two different stories there, right? Social media, same idea there. Showing up regularly, not just selling, sharing some behind the scenes or some of the process values, your why you do things is really important there. And it helps build a lot of trust. What else do you think?
Man, I think sales conversations is another key area where it's built. Listening more than pitching is, I think, a very important step in all of this. So sometimes recommending against your service if it's not the right fit. I know personally from our side, I've had plenty of discussions where it's like, no, you don't need to take this on right now. It's not the right time. And yes, we may not get to do business from that side of things with that client right away. Same thing with lawn care. If they're not ready to take on a mass landscaping project or something like that because they have to do things beforehand, they're going to respect and trust you all the more because you took time to actually assess the situation, see where they're at, meet them where they're at, and advise them rather than just trying to get that one quick sell.
Yeah, I think this is worth zooming in on because these conversations are so important. It builds so much trust and can so quickly trust, right? I don't know, firsthand experience. People that come in say we need XYZ and quick Google search tells me otherwise, or the next person coming in to take a look at something for the same work tells me or us the same, these things aren't important. They were just wrong about this one, while providing a ton of value other places. So it's not just like them shooting down the other company. They were just providing honest, truthful, transparent information that didn't necessarily help them with selling the job either, but it's so impactful, it's so important, and it can make or break you as a company in building trust and reputation. It's just so important.
Could not agree more. And spot on about zooming in on that, because I think the way to have some of those sales conversations before actually even getting to those conversations is through things like storytelling, helping people understand through case studies, through email, through content that these are real stories. These are real ways that we helped people. And it shows some of your personality as well, because people not only like to do business with companies and brands that they trust, but also that they like. So if they can feel good about your story, who you are, what you do, how you do it, the likelihood of doing business together is going to increase exponentially. So we've hit on the many ways that it can be done, but I think transitioning into some steps, some ways to go about building it for folks that maybe haven't spent the time to really dive into why it's important to build trust and how to build trust. So what are a couple things that you would begin with if you were starting to focus on building trust for your business?
One way, being honest, transparent, right? Tell the truth, have the client or customer's best interest in mind, even when it costs you a sale. You may lose one sale, but long term you will benefit, and it helps build trust. Giving first, so providing value, not just to impress, but to actually help, making sure it feels authentic, whether it's written content or in person, it goes a long way. What would you add?
I think one of the things that we've hit on previous a little bit with this is showing vulnerability, not asking you to bare your soul and throw it all out there, but share the real journey, share what you had to go through to get to where you're at, and not just the wins. And everybody likes to show their nice life, right? But show some of the lessons that you learned along the way. Because I think with every really positive success story and every winner, not just in business and sports, take it whichever way you want, but it's the journey. It's the times where you got knocked down, you had to get back up and keep pressing on, that really show a lot of that personality and who you truly are.
Go off of that. I can't tell you, like, I've had people pitch us something, right? And them sharing some of their early failures and what they did about it, or are still fixing with past clients and customers when they were making some of those mistakes. It does go a long way, and it shows, okay, you're not here just for the sale, but you stand behind what you do. That journey and not being afraid to be vulnerable and share some of your mistakes does build trust. Just wanted to highlight that because I think it often something people try to avoid. And efforts to make themselves look better than they are, which doesn't feel authentic, doesn't feel real, doesn't necessarily build trust.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head, because I think building that trust and then having that messaging be so consistent, where it's the same tones, the same values being communicated in all of your messaging across all platforms, it helps that really begin to resonate with your audience. Because I think a lot of times what we see is, okay, we send an email or we posted on social a bunch of times about this. Not everybody's going to see it on social. Not everybody's going to see it in that email. So really building that consistency over time across multiple platforms is really where the good stuff begins to happen. And some people go, oh, I'm beating them over the head with my messaging. And it's like, no, you're being consistent is what you're being. And I think it varies based on where you're at with your business, but it's about meeting your audience where they're at and helping them understand who you really are.
Yeah. And if you want to compare being beat over the head with a messaging to a business of a medium to small size, look at insurance commercial. It's the same one year after year, slight variation, but they're just over the top with it. What is the one message from a medium to small business size? We're not all advertising TV commercials endlessly, right? So showing up on social, email, all the other digital marketing channels in person, it does go a long way. And you do need to work and be mindful of doing consistently with a few messages, right? Not just every week you have something new.
Exactly. Yeah.
Confuse them, you lose them on stuff like that. And you want people to know without having to think much who you are, what you do, and if you're trustworthy at it, right?
Confuse them, you lose them. It can't be overstated.
Yeah.
Make it simple. So then kind of to transition a little bit to getting into ultimately the deciding factor. When we talk about the buyer journey, there's a number of opportunities and a number of ways that we can help our audience perceive value for what we are providing. And I think in the early stages of a business, when there's little name recognition, if any, trust is your greatest asset. Building reviews, helping people understand the story, really helping them to understand who you are and why they should be doing business with you, that is worth its weight in gold. I think another way that trust can become the deciding factor is when the offer can be unfamiliar or complex. I think trust bridges the knowledge gap. So not using a lot of jargon within your messaging, helping people understand very easily. We talked about this actually in an SEO episode as well, where we talk about Q&A style content, asking those questions on your website that your audience is going to be asking, and then you answer them right there.
Yeah.
So I think that can become very valuable and help eliminate any of that friction when they come to your website. What do you think leads to being another deciding factor?
Yeah, in industries with high competition, which is most, right? Unless you're a unicorn and provide a very unique solution to a problem someone's already has, you have competition and probably a good amount of it. Assuming everyone can do the job, but not everyone is trustworthy. Not everyone does what they say they're going to do for the job itself. But like, I think of small businesses a lot of time is like the baseline is you have to do the work and be an expert at it. That like next 20% is the most valuable part. It's all the intangibles, like how you respond, how you get back to people, you communicate, customer service, all the things that build trust. Right. So doing all of those things really well it's so important. I say critical or vital all the time, but it really is.
Yeah, I would agree. I think when we look, a lot of times folks will look at, okay, what's the economy doing? Is it the right time to buy? Am I doing business with the right company? Because maybe your business might cost a little bit more. Maybe your service is not the cheapest. And I can promise you that wherever you look, however you look, if you want to find just the cheapest price, you will find it, undoubtedly. What comes along with that cheaper price might not be the same quality of work. And I think a lot of times trust can be that deciding factor. And I think we see a fair amount of consumers willing to pay a little bit extra if they know that it's going to be done right. I was advised a couple weeks back by a friend of mine that I should have so-and-so do my patio work because they're going to do it right. And are they going to be the cheapest? Again, guaranteed. You know what would be cheaper? Me doing it myself. But if I want it done right and I want to feel very confident that it's not going to absolutely cave in or break or have all kinds of water going back towards my house, maybe I should hire a professional. So yeah, I think That trust is, again, everything there. So with all the deciding factors that we've just walked through here, I just wanted to share a real world example. A landscaping company that we knew started running Facebook ads, and they offered a 50% off of spring cleaning campaign. No testimonials, no real proof that they're really good at what they're doing. There's no facial recognition for the company or the brand. So a lot of times people scroll right past, because in the springtime in Michigan, those are a dime a dozen. You will see a lot. So they felt like they were wasting some money, and rightfully so. So what we saw instead was they started sharing video walkthroughs of projects, client shout outs, before and afters, quick little snippets to just show that there's a real person behind this business that is the heartbeat of the business. And all of a sudden, the result of changing that approach and becoming more personal and building more of that trust, people began just messaging them straight away. Can you do this in my yard? Can you do this to my property? So trust essentially grew just by sharing the real life application of what happens day to day in business. And we see that some of the impact that it has, where I think we kind of transition from, hey, ads is the way to go. Ads is one prong of the attack. But like we said before, if there is no trust, no authority behind the ads, then you're, again, just pouring money into a leaky bucket. Really, really cool story. Really cool change of pace by that business owner. Really, really cool results as a result of it.
Absolutely.
So when back to the pressing question at hand, though, is trust more important than a good offer? I'm putting you on the hot seat.
I'd say yes. Yeah. The best offer in the world. Like I said at the start, I don't think we changed I didn't change my mind talking about all of this. Trust matters a ton. The offer is important. How you entice them is important, but the trust is more important.
1000%. Could not agree anymore. So with all of that, some quick action steps to take away if you are trying to build that trust. First things first, where do people come into contact with your business? And is that building trust? Great question to ask yourself. Can you focus on one channel to consistently build trust? If it's email, social, YouTube, even networking, like they're all valid opportunities, but can you focus on those directly to continue to build? Start gathering reviews is your next step. Reviews, testimonials, client stories, even short messages, but start gathering those so that you can showcase the great work that your business is doing out in the open with others who may be looking for similar services to what you're providing. Last but not least, you have to show up every day in your voice with your values. Be you.
Love it.
That's all for this episode of the Madroit Podcast. Please make sure to like and subscribe. If you have any questions that you want us to talk about on the pod or want to get in touch with us, please visit madroitmarketing.com/podcast. Thanks for listening.